and welcome to day 4 of the 12 days of Sinmas. Can you believe we're already a third of the way through? Right? Yeah, we're a third of the way through. And my gift to you for the 4th day of Sinmas is your distant aunt who may or may not have stormed the Capitol on January 6th. I haven't actively used Facebook in a long time, but when I did, I was actively posting shit like this. The main reason why I stopped checking Facebook is because I was sick of the brain rot I experienced every time I logged on. I prefer to get my brain rot from Twitter, thank you very much, which is arguably Facebook for anyone born after 1995. But I'd forgotten the horrors of Facebook until I came across a subreddit called r/terrible Facebook memes, which made me realize that Facebook truly is the bad place. Basically, we'll be looking at memes your conservative uncle would find funny. And yes, we're bound to come across at least one Minion meme today. It's inevitable. Well, that's enough stalling, so let's get into these juicy memes. So the first terrible Facebook meme we'll be looking at is a screenshot from Twitter, unironically, and it's an edit of someone's Spotify Wrapped, because at the time of recording this, everybody's Spotify Wrapped came out this past week. Unless if you have Apple Music, in which case you're kind of weird. Not gonna lie. So the caption reads, "My Spotify Wrapped is the same every year. Haha. Is that so, pussyman_Dan? Let's see what it is. So I don't know what this pig at the top has to do with it, but in this edit, the top artist is this guy's wife. Minutes listened, too many. Haha. And the top songs are Turn the Football Off. My mom's coming to visit this weekend. Can you buy me some chocolate? Not tonight. I have a headache. You're always at the pub. Top genre, annoying and old. So I'm all for joking with your partner, but a lot of you just seem like you straight up hate them. Like, I'm sorry, even if it was a meme, if my spouse called me annoying and old on a public platform, I would lose my mind. I know that seems shallow, but like, this is like so disrespectful to post about your partner. So you're annoyed because your wife wants to spend time with you, wish you would spoil her every now and then, and respect your boundaries. Am I hearing that right? Am I reading this right? I mean, we've looked at least a dozen variations of this meme on my channel. The I hate my wife joke, that is so tired and lame at this point. Like, just fucking break up if you're this fucking miserable. And like I said, I could take a joke. I know what a joke is, but like, if your husband or your spouse is constantly posting memes like this, or even if they're posting it once, if I was their partner, I would assume there's some underlying issue they're not telling me about. I don't know, I'm definitely overanalyzing this meme. I'm definitely putting more thought into it than the original creator did, but I'm just so sick of the ball and chain, I hate my wife boomer type of jokes. It's so tired. Like, get a new fucking joke. Misogyny needs an update. Like, I'm not a fan of it, of course, but like, if you're gonna do it, at least keep up with the times. Which you kind of are, because you're doing this in like a Spotify Wrapped format. Again, don't know what the pig has to do with this. Is that supposed to be your wife? Oh my god, you're terrible, man. The format's updated, but the joke is the same. The original creator's just like Matt Rife. I mean, you're retelling the same jokes that have been around since forever, since the beginning of comedy. Congrats, you're a piece of shit and you're unoriginal. Enough of me overanalyzing this meme. Let's move on. So this one is from a page called I Grew Up 70s, 80s, and 90s Australia, and the meme is kids in the 1970s. Don't worry, Dad, just a fight at school, don't tell Mom, with a picture of a kid with the bloody nose. And then in the bottom panel, the title is Kids in the 2020s, with a sad young man sitting on a bench holding a pride flag. That reads, that mean comment on Facebook broke my vagina. I'm going to tell Daddy and Daddy. I don't know what the roast is supposed to be, because this kid has 2 loving parents he feels comfortable confiding in. That seems like a win to me. And it's like, do you miss the time when kids were getting beat up more often? I mean, I don't know how often fights are still happening in schools, but like, do you want your kid to like end up in a fight? Like, what's the joke? The fact that you were afraid to open up to your parents when you were little, and now kids feel more comfortable doing just that, because that seems like a self-report, if anything. That seems like a you problem. And it's like, yeah, obviously being beaten up sucks. Physical violence is the worst form of bullying, but like cyberbullying is also very real. Like just because it wasn't around 50 years ago, that doesn't mean it's any less hurtful. I just think this mindset is so stupid. Like, oh, back in my day, well, your day sucked. Sorry, I'm definitely biased because I'm born in a later day than you were, but like, it sucked. Considering the fact that I probably would have been lobotomized when these boomers were children, I think I have room to say that their generation sucks. On a bit of a lighter note, how about we read a conservative person's Christmas list? This is already the most aesthetically pleasing meme I've seen thus far, so I have a little bit of hope. So first, this conservative would like a new president for Christmas. You know, as a leftist, I'm right there with you. And the F Joe Biden ribbon on this present does not go unnoticed. Nice detail. Next, this person would like medical freedom. Aw, so that means you're pro-choice, right? Right? Next, they want more church. See, like, I don't know how that's something you could ask for Christmas, because that's like, again, that's a you problem. That's something you have to implement in your own life. Like, if you want more church in your life, you need to make the time to go to church. Like, who's gonna give that to you? This person also wants unlimited government, but most importantly, they would like all babies to be born. Every single baby? What if they're like a piece of shit when they're older? And then ironically enough, this person also wants more guns. Cool. So this person wants every baby to be born, but they also want more guns, despite the fact that gun violence is the #1 cause of death for children. Irony, am I right? All right, so for this next meme, the caption is, "How I envision guys who don't hunt or fish." And it's a picture of a guy naked in a bathtub living his life. And honestly, he seems a lot more pleasant to be around than any guy who hunts or fishes. Like, this dude has cucumbers on his nipples. That's peak relaxation. He seems like the chillest guy. I guess the underlying message of this meme is that guys are less manly if they don't hunt or fish. But like, what makes hunting and fishing manly? The fact that it's a physical activity, the fact that you're killing something in the process, the fact that it's an activity you typically do with other men. Like, what makes hunting and fishing superior to all other activities? What if a guy just wants to relax and hang out and be silly? Like, being this worried about what other guys are doing isn't so macho or masculine, if you ask me. Anyway, this post is my favorite. In a world full of people who prefer to be called by pronouns, I've now decided that I want to be known by adjectives. A few examples would be saved, redeemed, delivered, rescued, forgiven, justified, born again, and sanctified. You could also add ignorant, dumb, clueless, brainwashed, and a bunch of other words I can't say on YouTube to your list. Do these people not realize that everybody has pronouns? Just because you've never had to think about it, that doesn't mean this doesn't apply to you. Like I said, everybody's got pronouns. And a lot of these seem like religious buzzwords, like saved, redeemed, forgiven, born again. So you think as like a follower of Christ or God or whatever, you know, deity in your religion, you would think that you would be less judgmental of others and leave the judging up to the higher power you're worshiping. That's like how it goes in the Bible, right? God is your only judge at the end of the day. But really, a shitty preferred pronoun joke by a conservative? Groundbreaking. My God, leave these in 2016. We've moved on. This one's my favorite. This made me laugh so hard when I first saw it. You're old school if you know what this light means. A street lamp? Brother, everybody has seen a street lamp. Maybe not you, you know, under the rock you live in, but like the rest of us, we know what this is. I guess they're implying that like the kids of today don't go outside enough so they wouldn't recognize this. If you're gonna make that observation, this is a stupid way to do it. Like, yes, the younger generations are more tuned into technology and the internet and stuff, but like, we're not fucking stupid. We know what a street lamp is. We weren't born yesterday. One thing about these memes is that they're all so condescending. It's crazy. Oh, we're gonna take a trip back to 2011 with this next memes format. Kids these days need elf on a shelf to behave? That's cute. We had welts with the belt. Oh, your kid likes to play with the little elf toy in the days leading up to Christmas? That's cute. I was beaten by my parents. Like, why would you use this as a flex or like a bragging point? Like, baby, you're a victim. Like, get up. This is Stockholm Syndrome if I've ever seen it. And these are the same type of people that will say that they were hit as a kid and turned out fine. Clearly, you're not. This is the result of your unresolved childhood trauma, and now we have to bear the brunt of it through your Facebook memes complaining. Show this meme to a therapist, and then, you know, work from there. But it's like same with the fighting meme from earlier. Do you want kids to be subjected to violence? Like, is that your way of assuring that a kid will toughen up and be ready for the real world? Because that's like the basis of all these memes. Like, oh, you know, kids these days aren't as smart. You know, they're a lot softer and dumber. But it's like, no, we were just raised in a different time. Like, sorry, my generation doesn't think it's cool to beat your children anymore if they talk back to you. Of course, you know, you should always hold your kids accountable when they do something wrong, but tell them why they're in trouble and why what they did was wrong instead of beating them with a belt. And it's like Elf on the Shelf, that's like such a wholesome concept. It's just like a way to get kids excited for the Christmas season. And you're turning this into a dark joke about your unresolved trauma. Speaking of the good old days, I remember when there were two genders, cars ran on gas, folks were proud of America, kids knew the pledge, and folks weren't such little b****s. I miss them days. How much do you want to bet that the original creator stole the selfie from the gentleman in the photo and then just put the stupid caption over it? Like, this is like the most geriatric meme I've ever seen. You know, for me, it's like, can we go back to the days when older generations didn't complain about this shit? Oh, those don't exist because older generations have always complained about this shit? Awesome. Listen, I hope when I get older and more jaded, I'm not this whiny. It's just so ironic to me because this person, whoever made it, I don't know if it's the guy in the selfie or not. Beautiful bandana, by the way. This man is he's a stunner. Whoever made this is complaining about people being nowadays. And it's like, all you do is and moan about how times are changing and how things aren't the same from when you were a kid 800 years ago. That's life. That is how humanity and the world progresses. Like, the world won't stop or pause for you because you wanted to. And, you know, it's going to be the same for us younger generations. You know, the world is still going to turn and things are going to keep progressing when we get old. And hopefully when things change as we get older, we're not this whiny and annoying. Gen Z, I hope we always have some self-awareness. I feel like those of us in the younger generations have slightly more self-awareness than our seniors. Let's keep it that way. Let's not end up like this. Listen, if I'm 70 years old and I'm on social media complaining about the younger generation, just smother me with a pillow at that point. Again, ironic that this is terrible Facebook memes and this next post is a screenshot from Twitter, but the caption is, "No caption needed," if you say so. And this is, I assume, an AI-generated photo of the devil sewing a pride flag. So I guess this person is saying that this is how it is nowadays. Like, this is the state of the world right now. It's so terrible. But all I get from this image is that not only is the devil very inclusive and accepting, but he's fucking good at sewing. Like, he would kill it on a sewing challenge in RuPaul's Drag Race. Especially season 3. That was a tough season. Conservative Christians need to work harder at making the devil more unlikable. Because from all I'm seeing, he sounds like a great guy. I would get a drink with him. He's buff, he can sew, he's accepting, my kind of guy, you know? So the person who posted this next photo onto r/terrible Facebook memes apparently saw it from their brother on Snapchat. So let's see what's in the photo. It's a picture of a truck with a bumper sticker on the back that says, "I identify as a Prius." Wow. You know, that joke would have been even funnier like 8 years ago. So not only does misogyny need a bit of an update, I guess it's the same thing with transphobia. Like, I don't even think most trans people get offended at these kind of jokes anymore. Like, I think most of y'all are just tired. Like, if you're gonna offend us, like, be original about it. And it's like the same thing with homophobia. Like, I can't even get offended. I'm just tired. I'm disappointed. That's what it is. Like, if you're gonna be homophobic, at least get some new material, because while that might offend me, I can at least appreciate when someone is trying. This is not trying. This is like 2 out of 10 effort. And especially like, you chose like a boring ass font. Like, come on. You could have done like a little graphic or something. Like, we're tired. We're so fucking tired. Do better. Conservatives, I believe in you. I believe that you can come up with better material. Sincerely, I do. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. And I love how the caption reads, LMAO, that's funny. Honestly, that's funnier than the bumper sticker. This next post actually almost made me cry because it made me realize like the kind of society that we're living in these days, and I hope it hits you as deeply as it hit me. I finally realized it. People are prisoners of their phones. That's why they're called cell phones. Holy shit. That's fucking deep, man. And it's like, all we need to do to release ourselves as prisoners is to put our phones down, our cell phones down. We are, this is so fucking stupid. Even 14-year-old me would not find this deep in the slightest. Actually, she probably would. Yeah, I was a bit of a clown at 14. She probably would have been like, damn, I didn't think of it like that. But damn, Jimmy Neutron's really going through it. You would think the boy genius would want technological advancement. All right, so this next one made me laugh. This is probably my favorite of the bunch. It's a side-by-side panel, and the left side has a picture of a nice juicy steak. Vegans, look away. And then the right is a photo of some body of water, and the caption is, do not eat this with guilt. This is what we have eaten as a species for millions of years. Not rice, not bread, not salad, and most of all, not Captain Crunch. So you think the cavemen were grilling medium rare steak in their caves? You think they had their own version of A1 sauce? It's like, yeah, they ate meat, but they weren't eating a New York strip from Texas Roadhouse. That's the worst part of this. This is just factually incorrect. Like, humans have been eating rice for thousands of years, bread for thousands of years, vegetables for thousands of years. Like, I'll give it to you. You know, our ancestors were not eating Captain Crunch, but like, the rest, yeah, they were eating the rest of the stuff. And not to burst this person's bubble, but I think humans have only been around for like a couple 100,000 years. We certainly weren't eating steak with the dinosaurs. And last but certainly not least, we have made it to the final terrible Facebook meme of the day. And I know you guys have been waiting for it. I got a Minion meme for y'all. If you think you're gonna vaccinate my kids, this is the only kind of shot you're gonna get. I'm sorry, but there's nothing less intimidating than a Minion dressed as an early 2000s metrosexual. Like, leave poor Kevin or whoever the fuck out of this. I feel like this would be reposted by the same conservative who made the Christmas list from earlier. The same sort of like pro-life conservative Christian who wants more guns. Talk about the irony in that. But that's the state of Facebook for you in 2023. If you would like me to do this again, let me know. I feel like I got a little bit stupider as this video went on, but that's okay. I had fun. But if there's anything in particular you'd like me to talk about going forward, I have a Google form linked in the description where you could submit your video ideas. But thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a tiny, tiny thumbs up and subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching day 4, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 5 of the 12 Days of Sinmas. Bye!